Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She's the host of the program, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. It does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb, if someone is thinking of selling their home, what are some of the top things that a home seller should fix, and what should they not fix when they're trying to prepare their home for sale?
Before you upgrade a home, I definitely would ask me or discuss it with some other professional. Not all improvements are going to add to the bottom line. It really depends on the price range of the home, the market conditions, the area competition. All these factors play into it. And with some homes, it's expected. It's absolutely expected that you have, Corinthian leather in the higher price points. But then when you start getting in the lower price points, not so much. It just needs to be kind of move-in ready, right? Just fresh and in good shape, but not necessarily fancy, if that makes any sense. And we know that some buyers will eliminate homes based on the deferred maintenance that they might see in the online presentation, unless the home is priced below market. So I had a listing, it was a few years back, it was up in Woodmore, had a beautiful view lot. But it's an old home. It was definitely an 80s time warp. It needed some work. It needed siding. It had pink carpet. Everything was builder grade, but the seller priced it very aggressively. That was the biggest open house I ever had, Richard. I had I think 183 people there in about an hour and a half. It was kind of crazy. And we got somewhere around 20 offers. And of course, the offers went way up over asking price. So it is a strategy when you price very aggressively, and it can work sometimes. But the house had one thing going for it, which was a great location and great views. So the buyer that ended up getting the home actually was going to live in the home and had the skills to do their own work. So they got good bones at a great price, and then they could take their time making the improvements that they need to make. And there are different improvements that will get you a return on investment and others that will not. So right now, from my own personal experience, remodeling is really expensive unless you have the resources to do it yourself. It's spendy. And you probably won't get 100% return on your investment, but you also have to consider, would a buyer take a look at this home and think that they have to do work to buy it? If they do, they might pass. But if it's passable, like you can move in, drop your stuff, that means the flooring has to be in decent shape, and take your time upgrading whatever you want. That might be a better strategy depending on the price point. So you may not get every penny back, but a lot of people kind of mix up remodeling with deferred maintenance. So if something's broken, not working, tired, destroyed, things like bad flooring, all that kind of stuff is enough for a buyer to say, forget it, I don't want to do that, right? Especially flooring. For some reason, flooring is just one of those things that if we have that handled, buyers are okay with other issues with the house. If it's obvious deferred maintenance, sometimes the inexpensive repair can go a long way. I had one house that we had on the market that had very dramatic paint. I think I've talked about this a bunch of times, where the owner let somebody move in and paint both the cabinets in the master and the kitchen sparkle black. There was all kinds of other creative colors in the home, very poor quality painting. And the seller decided just to price it aggressively and not do the paint. All they did was flooring and just fix broken things. And it sold very fast because it was priced right. Now, could they have saved some money if they painted the house and fixed it up to make it perfectly show ready? Yes, but the problem is that, there's only so much you want to spend on a house, and speed was important to them. One thing that came up on the inspection is that the basement was not permitted. Now, this happens to people a lot. It's really surprising, this whole process of getting permits to do work on homes. the county kind of sort of regulates that, right? So there are certain things that you should pull a permit to do. Finished basements, anything handling gas like water heater furnace, roof replacement, for sure anything adding to the foundation, square footage, that kind of thing. But definitely not every little detail has to be approved through the permit process. And the problem is homeowners will hire somebody to do the work and they're assuming they're professionals and they're supposed to be pulling permits and doing what they're supposed to do. But more often than not, it doesn't happen. I don't know if the contractor's just too cheap to go down and get a permit, but if it is requiring a permit, it could cost money for the seller in the future. So in this situation, he hired somebody to finish the basement. Thought he hired a professional, the basement turned out fine. Then when the buyer comes along, they actually asked for $25,000 off the price solely because there was no permit pulled. So the seller went down and worked with the county regional building department. They actually negotiated because they will charge triple the fees if you fail to pull a permit when you were supposed to. So they got that down a little bit, but the cost to repair that issue was under 2,000. It wasn't 25,000. So I would say that's the kind of thing that you want to fix and get ahead of if it happened. Most people don't look at their permit history. And I find that very interesting. So like if you have to replace the roof when it's time, and they're talking to somebody about selling their home, we look at the permit history and, how new is the roof? Oh, I just replaced it, 2 years ago. Well, there was no permit pulled. So now we have to go back to that contractor, get the permit pulled. And if you weren't able to reach them, then the homeowner has to do it themselves, which could be a little bit costly, not terrible, but I would get ahead of it because right now the buyers are so picky. Homes are a lot less affordable than they were 5 or 6 years ago. And you don't want them to have a reason to walk away, a dumb reason like that. Another thing is I had somebody give me guidance about flooring a number of years ago. It was somebody that handled a lot of properties, and he basically said, don't let the buyer get away, especially something like flooring. He says, tell me in advance if you think the flooring needs to be replaced, because when a buyer's offer comes in, if it comes in, it could be 6 to 8 more times more. The offer could be 6 or 8 more times less than the cost of actually replacing that item. So here's some things that you should be fixing. Curb appeal, things like mulch, flower beds, paint the front door, fix the broken doorbell, make it look appealing. Clutter in the living room, absolutely critical. Kitchen appliances should match and the kitchen should be decluttered. Master bathroom light fixtures and flooring need to be fresh. Master bedroom colors need to be neutral, light, and decluttered. And master closets are another area where I tend to see a lot of stuff stuffed in there, right? That is not how you want to present the home for sale. We don't typically photograph closets or garages or unfinished spaces because they don't look that great in photos, but the buyers absolutely are going to look at it. So you want it to look neat and tidy. So what my stagers have recommended is getting a closet ready to show is you take everything off the floor, maybe put shoe boxes and stuff up high, pack away the clothes that are, you're just not going to wear for the season. Also, faux paint and wallpaper, those kind of things tend to buyers don't typically like them unless they're really, really neutral. If you happen to have any wiring issues, I would take care of that if you can. You don't want any open wiring, dangle wiring. I see a lot of people that will use a extension cord in their garage to power the garage door opener. That absolutely will get tagged on an inspection. So you might as well get ahead of it, get an electrician to take care of it. And we can actually provide you a checklist on how to deal with clutter. That's usually the biggest challenge for most people. But basically take it one room at a time, work on the closets, box away any unused clothing, everything off the floor as an example. Kitchens and baths, you want everything off the counter. And then just make 3 piles, donate, keep, store, whatever it is, get rid of, because that makes it simpler. But I know with me, with my squirrel brain personality, I tend to start one project and not finish and then start another one. You're much better off focusing one room at a time and focus on the key rooms, which are curb appeal, backyard, living room, kitchen, master bathroom, and master bedroom. You want your home to look like a model. And one of the things that we offer for our clients is we let them use our moving van for free. So this is, Richard, I'll admit, this is a big billboard for me. I love it being driven around.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Look at that thing.
Yeah, and it's pretty nice. It's a Ford 350. It's got a 14-foot moving box with a ramp, and it's really handy. People love it. Some people use it for their full move. Some people use it maybe just to take some of their furniture to a consignment store or donate furniture or even throw things away. So focus on those things and make sure the home is really, really clean. My name is Barb Schlinker. We're talking about what to fix and what not to fix when you get your house ready for sale. And we'll cover a few more what not to fix when we come back. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900. We do this custom for every client when we meet with them. Or you can go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you can always reach Barb at 719-301-3900. Now, remember, if you're in your car, you can't listen to the entire show. You can always catch up on it at Barb's YouTube channel. Barb has the buy. You can always catch up on Barb's YouTube channel. Barb has the buyers. Barb, what are some things that a home seller should not do to get their home ready for sale?
Well, driveway cracks or little cracks in the basement, not a problem unless it's a trip hazard. So don't worry too much about those things. There definitely are grandfathered building code issues that come up, like, some of the inspectors will come along and say, oh, well, you have to have a GFCI in every bathroom and every bedroom and everywhere. You really don't need that. So don't worry too much about it. I would look at the electrical panel. The Federal Pacific panel, typically every buyer asks for it to be replaced, and it may not need it. We've got some electricians that understand it a little bit more than the internet and can make some good recommendations. And just, try to fix things and do the job right. It's really obvious if you do just light things. Like I was showing a house not too long ago, and I think they painted and put a new carpet, but the rest of the house was kind of a mess. I mean, you open the kitchen drawer and it fell out, and it really didn't look that good. But take care of minor paint issues. Exterior paint, we have a lot of buyers in this market that are getting a VA and FHA loan. If there's any peeling paint on the outside, they will ask for it to be corrected. So I would get ahead of that. And it doesn't mean a full repaint in the house. It's just touch up of stuff that happens. Do remove heavy window coverings when it's time to do pictures. And regarding appliances, there should be a color match if you can do that. But refrigerator, washer, and dryer are not part of the real estate. So if you're going to include that with the sale, we'll put a provision in the contract to protect you that you don't have to fix it if those things fail. However, it's a nice bonus to the buyer. It actually is a gift to the buyer. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call. We can help you do that customized to your home at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker, host of the program and the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, just call Barb at 719-301-3900. Or, of course, you can visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about who do you choose to be the best real estate agent for selling and buying a house? I think you might know. Stay tuned for that.